Good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls. I'm your host. I have a phenomenal guest on today. He's a really good friend of mine, been a client of mine, been a friend of mine, been an enemy of mine. I'm just kidding. He's never been an enemy. He's a great freaking guy, though. Amazing dude. I want everybody to give a really warm welcome. And those of you watching on Facebook, share this out. This dude is awesome. So I want you to welcome my buddy, my good friend, Rockstar Jeremie Warner. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. I love the intro, man. That's awesome.
Dude, you're amazing. You've been a good friend of mine now for, I don't even know how long, 3, 4, 5 years?
5 years, yeah, something like that.
It's been a while, man. And we've done business together. We've done, we've done dinner together. We've done lots of phone calls together. And dude, you're just you're a rock star. So I really appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule. Because I know you're a traveling man, dude.
Yeah.
You're
everywhere.
I know. Every time I talk to you, like I'm at the airport getting on an airplane. I'm like, jeez, dude. So Jeremy, this show, I created this show. How's my volume, by the way? Is it good?
It's good. Good. Perfect.
Okay. So I created this show to, help people have a breakthrough in life by hearing the stories of how other people have had breakthroughs. And I know that you've experienced the ups and the downs in life, so to speak.
Every day.
Yeah. And so let's start with like where it all started for you, where you were born and raised.
All right. I was born, my dad was a military man, so I was born in South Korea. If you asked me to pronounce the city, I couldn't tell you the city. I couldn't tell you. I know it's very, very close to Seoul, and that's about all I can tell you. I was there less than 2 years. My dad was stationed over there, met my mom, obviously had me, and then we came back. He was stationed in El Paso, Texas at Fort Bliss there, and he was in the Army. So from there I grew up in El Paso to the age of 8, 9 years old, and my mom and my dad, they got a divorce, and my mom didn't speak very good English. So at an early age, when they got a divorce, my mom gave custody to myself and my sister to my dad. She felt like that was going to be the best path for me, the best chance for success if I was around him. So after that split, we moved to what is called Lawrenceburg, Indiana, which is right outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where my dad grew up and raised. We actually moved back to his hometown, and then I grew up from there from, let's see here, 4th grade, all the way through, 1 year of college. And then, that's where I kicked off my career in the automotive industry was from there.
Really? So you went to college then?
Yeah, I went for 1 semester.
Oh.
I went to UC.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you went to UC.
Yeah, I went to UC, went there for a semester. Really didn't have my act together, to be honest with you. My very first job was at the age of 15, and I'll take you back a little bit, just to, go briefly, with the situation, how I grew up and things like that. Well, when we moved back to my dad's hometown, my dad's 100% disabled. He got hurt, had issues, things like that. And for the longest time, we were waiting for the Veterans Affairs, VA, to put my dad on a long-term disability. He couldn't work. He wasn't allowed to work and everything like that. So during our life, it was a struggle. It was a struggle because, he was barely making any money. Our very first place that we moved, when we came there, we lived in over the Rhine in Cincinnati, Ohio, and anybody knows where that's at. that is the straight ghetto. 30 years ago, that was a straight ghetto. Now things have changed, but back then it was a straight ghetto. We lived there for a short stint, and then we moved back to his hometown, and we had a trailer.
In Indiana.
Yeah, back in Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you moved back to Indiana?
I was starting 5th grade.
Okay. Well, that's like it's like Ohio light.
Correct. Yeah, it's a suburb of Ohio, even though it's in another state.
All that down there. I mean, the Cincinnati airport's in Kentucky. Like
exactly. Yeah, most people don't know that.
I know. It's crazy. Wow, man. Wow. We all go through struggles, okay? And our struggles, you let it determine on how it's going to define who you are and who you become. And I had a rough childhood, and I don't blame at anybody. It's just the situation that we were in. It was the life that I was living, and I had to do everything possible to make the best of what it was. So, at the age of 15, I got my first job. It was many northern people know White Castles, but this was a spinoff of White Castles. It was called G Burger, and it was in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. And the place was maybe 20 feet long by 15 feet wide. Oh,
and
my Lord.
One person worked there the whole time.
Oh, wow.
That was my first job. I remember, at the age of 16, my buddy and myself, Ryan, we used to go up to the car dealership all the time and would just talk to the salesman. Oh, we're getting ready to buy a car, and, start haggling and dealing and, at the age of 16, 17, we weren't going to buy anything.
Right.
But at that early age, I always had a passion for selling. I didn't know it was selling at that point, but I was always trying to do something.
Right.
And, we would test drive cars by ourselves. I remember all these situations at different dealers there in Lawrenceburg that we did all the time. But that was kind of my first experience with sales. And from that point on, every job that I had to do something with sales. My first sales job was with Time Warner Cable, and I actually knocked doors.
Yep.
I physically went and knocked doors selling cable, and I had the roughest territories in Cincinnati, but I knew those rough territories that everybody wanted a cable, so that's why I worked them, and I was very, very aggressive. So, that was the job that I had going my first year in college, in high school, coming out of high school. I did very, very well.
Doing the Time Warner thing?
Yeah, because I found a system and a way that I would be in downtown Cincinnati in the projects area and stuff like that, and you weren't supposed to be there. But back in the day, all your cable stuff was in a box outside.
Yeah.
They weren't on the pole; they were in a box. So I would pull up my sheet, and it would show me who had cable, who didn't have cable, and I would start doing the audit. And then I would knock on the door, and they answer and be like, "Hey, it's Jeremy with Time Warner Cable. Hey, the reason why I'm here is we got a big promotion going on. I can get you guys signed up right now. You can get HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, Movie Channel, all free today if you sign up." And I was knocking on all the doors that people were stealing cable. Okay, so they were stealing cable, and I gave them an opportunity that I was pitching them. And then what I did is, 9 times out of 10, they never took it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, you guys decide to change your mind. I'm going to be in the area the rest of the day. Here's my business card. Give me a call. And I would do that one building. And then from that building, after I got done with that building, before I moved to the next building, I would go turn everybody off. And within an hour, everybody was calling me. Everybody was calling me because.
So you knew they were stealing it, though.
Well, I knew they were stealing it because our audit reports show that to us. So I developed this pitch, and it worked like a charm. And all the guys that work there are like, "Man, why do you always go into the ghetto and sell apartments? There's no money in it. You can make more money selling a home." And I was like, I got away. But I would work. I would literally work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I was making $5-6 grand a month.
Wow!
Because I found a way that that worked. You know, the pitch worked, just everything with it worked. And, you know, these people be calling me back up. Yeah, man, are you still in the area? You know, turn me back on, and I need them movie channels and all that stuff. So, you know, one of those deals would pay me by the time I got done, because I would get paid for the hookup, I would get paid for the turn on, I would get paid for the movies, new service, all those different things. I was making $150 to $175 a commission on each one, and I can go in a weekend and do 10, 15 of them. Wow,
that's awesome, dude. So you found a shortcut, so to speak, right? Definitely not an easier, softer way, but you found a shortcut to, hey, man, it's about supply and demand, right? So you figured out how to eliminate their supply, which increased demand immediately.
Exactly.
Right. Wow, dude, that's actually pretty smart. So people weren't like asking, dude, how can I get in on this? How can I come over?
Because they knew it was a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you had to work really, really hard, but I found a way to, you know, develop a process, a pitch, and all those different things. But it sped it up for me. But no, it worked, man. And, you know, I took that job. And, you know, going through that time of my life, I never had I never seen that kind of money.
Right.
You know, I remember first job at G Burger there, I was making $5.25 an hour. I believe that was what minimum wage was at that time, or $4.75, something like that.
Yeah.
And so once I had that taste of those type of commissions and sales, I was like, well, you know, this is going to be I feel like this is going to be the direction I go sooner or later. I went to school for architecture. Because I was really good at drafting and drawing and you know, the artistic side of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, the situation, how I got in the car business is I mismanaged my money. I was making big money at that early age. I didn't have any guidance. I wasn't taught the right way. You know, I just blew through everything. You know, bought a car, buying clothes, had a fancy apartment, all these different things that, you know, I was never taught. And now here's a situation where you got this kind of money at that early age, you know, you just go crazy. And that's the situation that I put myself into. And it came a point where I wasn't working because I took advantage of the job because it became too easy, all these different situations, and my income went down. So I got my first car that I ever bought was a 95 Pontiac Grand Prix GTP. I remember it to this day. An older lady had it. It had 8,000 miles on it. I went and got a loan at a credit union for it. That was my first major purchase, and within a year I had the car repoed.
Yeah.
I got evicted from my apartment, and all through my life, my dad and myself, we never saw eye to eye on a lot of things. So we always butted heads, you know, very, very similar.
Yeah.
And that part of my life, he really wasn't like. He comes from the motto, because he was in the Army and drill sergeant, all these other things. He comes from the motto, like, when you move out, you're on your own, and I'm not going to help you, no matter what it is. You know, you work hard, you work for everything that you got. And so I put myself in that situation where I got evicted. I put myself in a situation where I got my first car repossessed, and I didn't have any transportation. I had nowhere to live. I became homeless for about a week.
Wow.
And
in Cincinnati?
Yeah, this was in northern Kentucky, another suburb of Cincinnati.
Okay.
and Florence, where the water tower's at.
Yeah, Florence, y'all.
Exactly.
If you've never been to Cincinnati, that's literally what is on the water tower driving down I-75. You come out of Cincinnati, cross the Kentucky, and there's the water tower off to the right, and it says Florence, y'all.
You know what happened with that is it was supposed to say Florence Mall, because the water tower is right there in the mall.
And they
messed and they just kept it that way, and it's stuck.
Some dude like he was, oh my God. He's like, hey, I got a better idea.
Yeah.
Did he say mall or y'all? All Let's just put y'all up there. Yeah, and that dude, it's a staple, right? I mean, it's literally it's an icon in Cincinnati. So, and that's funny because it's not Cincinnati, but it is.
It's in Kentucky.
I know, it's crazy. So you were okay. So how old were you at this point?
Oh man, I was 19.
19
going on 20.
19, almost 20. You
yeah, it was 97.
What's that?
It was 96, 97 when this happened.
Okay.
So I'll speed up the story. That situation happened. Yada yada yada. I was down to my last $1,000 on a credit card.
Okay.
Last $1,000, and this was the summer between school.
Hold it. You were homeless and had a credit card?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez. All righty then.
Well, you got to remember, I built my credit up, so I had those situations. So
right.
The credit card was the last thing I had.
I got you.
I was going to grocery stores, buying a little food here and there until I had it all figured out. And it was a bad 1 week, but it was a week that I needed to have.
Right. Yep.
You're hanging around with the wrong friends. You don't have any support there. Your dad's not going to give you support. So you figure things out very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So from that point, I answered a one ad for a sales job at a Dodge dealership there in Florence, and I went there, knew I was going to interview and get the job. I went right next door to the dealership on the same lot was a hotel called Suburban Lodge, so extended stay. So I went in there, I put a month on it, I went and got groceries, everything like that. I didn't have a car at that point, so I walked literally across the parking lot to the dealership.
Wow.
Got hired, and the rest is history. My first month in there, we were doing, we had 25 salesmen on the ground at that store. It was very, very aggressive, #1 Dodge store there in northern Kentucky. And, I was going in with a lot of guys that were great at what they did. And I had a salesman his name was Larry. Curly Larry is what he went by. He kind of took me under his wing, guided me, told me this is how you do this, do this, do this. And my first month, there it was like 3 weeks. I made over $13,000 that month, and the rest is history. And that's how I got in the car industry.
How long did you stay in the extended stay?
Just for that month, because I already paid for it.
Yeah, because you were like, I am officially balling now at 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like, wow, dude. $13,000 in 1 month is good money. I don't care who you are. Yeah. So now did it just keep growing from there, or did you have some ups and downs, hiccups, or like, have you always been rich?
I wouldn't.
Just
I
kidding.
Wouldn't call that. Yeah, I wouldn't call that rich.
No,
but,
I'm kidding.
I mean, you're always going to have your ups and downs. I excelled very, very quickly in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
I only sold cars for a little over a year. I did it so well, and I excelled at all the other aspects of it. I picked it up so quickly. My mentors there, that was the new car managers at that time, Todd and Bill Green. They moved up in positions for themselves, and I was the first one that got promoted to new car manager at the age of 21. So, I started there, and then once I got into management, I became obsessed with, okay, I need to learn everything about the automotive industry, not just the sales, the management. I got to understand finance. I got to understand how the back-end operations work, how the dealership works as a whole, how auctions, all these different things that are different layers of the automotive industry. I just took that from that point on for the next 8-9 years, learning everything. So I took every position that became available: new car, used car, finance manager, special finance manager, all these different components within a dealership. I took every position so I can learn every single component of it. And
wow,
got an opportunity to be a GSM of a Toyota store there. And
in Cincy or Kentucky or
still Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, it's Cincy, dude.
Yeah.
My niece lives down in Northern Kentucky. She's a graduate of UC.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're at in Northern Kentucky does she live now?
I'm not sure. Probably in Florence, y'all.
Yeah, most likely.
I don't know. Yeah.
But I got out of the automotive industry itself in 97.
Oh,
I'm sorry. 2007, 2008, right around that time. It was the same time where the economy was diving, homes, that whole era.
Yeah.
And I got to a point, these are the ups and downs of the automotive industry. You're making 15, 20 grand a month. You live like you're making 15, 20 grand a month instead of living like you're making $5,000. So
right.
These are all things that I learned along the way. Very, very hard, hard lessons in life that you gotta be a better manager of those situations. So that happened. I got out of the automotive industry for about 4 or 5 years. I was approached by another company about coming out and doing marketing events at dealerships. I never took that position, and then once that happened, my income cut in half. So I was like, okay, I got to find another way to make sure that I keep my income up there. So I went and worked with another marketing company. I did it for a very, very short stint because I went out with this company and saw all the wrong things that they were in the automotive industry market. And right after that year, I started my own company doing the same exact thing.
So this is in 2008 or 9?
7. Yeah, at that time it was 2009 is when I started.
Okay. So you were doing marketing though. Was it in the auto business or marketing for just anybody?
No, it was in the automotive industry.
Okay. So you got into the automotive industry at about 20 years old, and
Yep.
in 2007, so that's when I started my company. So 11 years ago, you started your own gig, and so what okay, so there's a lot of people that watch this that are entrepreneurs, or they have a severe desire to be an entrepreneur, own their own business, do their own deal. Did you come out of the gates like just killing it?
No. I left that other company with one account. I left with one account, and I didn't know after 30 days or 60 days if I would even be in business.
Right.
But I took a leap of faith because what I believed in before, how I worked in the automotive industry and then saw what this company was doing, I didn't want to be part of that. It wasn't the right way of doing business. It's not wasn't the right processes, wasn't the right structures, wasn't the right people.
Right.
So I wanted to make an impact within that type of marketing in the automotive industry, and that's why I got out. And I had no idea if I was going to survive or not. But that one client, I did everything possible with that one client to make sure that we had mass success.
Yeah.
And we did. And that one client led to another client, led to another client, led to another client. And that's how Rush Impact started. It started by one client, and it was just referral after referral after referral after referral. Because I went into business at a very, very, at that time, I didn't know what it meant. Now when we talk about, you got to serve your client. You got to, it's a lot different now than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
Our world has changed, especially with, the internet and social media and many different things like that. So I understood at a very, very young age and this comes from my uprising, that, you got to perform, for one. You got to do things that you say you're going to do, but then you also have to serve others and make sure that, you do everything possible to make sure that, they win first.
Right.
Because if your customers are winning, in the end, you're going to win. And those things matter to me at a very, very young start in the business itself. So, like I said, that one client led to where we're at right now.
Hey, I have a little arrow I just put up on the screen. I love the fact that you have my book strategically placed back there behind you. I have a little arrow pointing at it right now. Dude, but that's what I mean when I say that you're just a classy dude, man. You're just a classy dude. You really are. And I think that, from what, I mean, you and I have had probably at least 100 hours worth of conversations, if not more. Sure. And, that's one of the takeaways I always get is you, and I don't know if it's intuitive or because you just have made the mistakes or whatever, but like, you create an experience for your clients and everybody you deal with, quite frankly. I mean, hell, I've been a vendor of yours and you still have created a really cool experience. And so, that's what it takes, man. You got like so many entrepreneurs, and I don't want to inject my opinion because this is about you, but there's a lot of people out here, especially these younger kids that want to be entrepreneurs, and they think it's all about them and making the money for them, and it's not, man. It's just not. If you make it all about you're not going to last. There's no longevity in that. So that really, and that's kind of a segue into what I want to talk about next, and that is, you're, I can't, my math isn't working. I think you're in your 40s, I think.
Yeah, 41.
Okay. So, you've got some experience under your hat, and I've seen your house. You're doing well. I've seen pictures of it. Like you're doing well. And so, my question for you is this, we see all of these people out here on social media and, just everywhere. What, in your opinion, what do you think the number one thing is that's stopping people from real success in life and in business? It doesn't necessarily have to be owning a business, but I mean, dude, you were the top sales guy in a car dealership. You've done a lot of amazing things. So what's that one thing that you see most people that are failing? What's the one mistake they're making? The big one.
Well, there's several for me, but if you're asking about one big one,
dude, lay them all out if you want. Lay them all out.
The first one is fear. Fear of not. It's not that you can't do it; it's the fear of not knowing how to do it. So, it's not saying yes or no; it's knowing. What are you want? And you don't have to be an entrepreneur to have success and all these different things. It could be in any profession that you do, but you got to get over the fear of telling yourself that you can't do it or can't be done, because it can. You got to believe in yourself that you can do it, and it comes down to the mindset. It really comes down to a mental level of how mentally strong are you, because you don't have to be. You don't have to be a great talent. You really, really don't. But if you have the work ethic and you have the discipline to do it over and over and over again, have consistency doing it, you're going to succeed at it. So,
love that. Yeah.
As you get repetition and as you become great at whatever that is, then you learn to take it to the next level. How do I grow upon that? But, for me, obviously it starts with fear, but the second thing is discipline. People don't have discipline. People people want everything and don't want to put the work in to get it. They think that you're going to put an hour in, and then next thing you're doing is you're sipping Mai Tais on the beach, and you're just sitting back making millions of dollars.
It doesn't work like that.
Unfortunately, it doesn't. I haven't came across that. Even the ones that are, very successful internet marketers, that do those things, there's still a period in time that they had to go through the struggles and the ups and downs and the battles and the late nights and the early mornings, and people don't see that.
No.
They just see your wins, but they don't see all the practice and all the time and energy that you took to get to that point. So your mindset and discipline are massive in what your success is. And you got to be willing to educate yourself.
Yep.
You got to be willing to understand and the knowing of whatever profession it is, whatever it is. You got to educate yourself. With the internet, you don't need to be rich. You just need to have the willpower to be able to go on there and look for the information and teach yourself how to do it. Read books, learn, watch other people. Emulate what others are doing, the greats are doing.
Yeah.
And learn from that. So those are my 2 cents on that.
Dude, I agree, and I remember, because I didn't even graduate from high school, man. They told me my senior year I needed a biology credit to graduate, and I'm like, I freaking aced calculus and trigonometry and analytic geometry, and I hated biology. I just did. I failed it in my 10th grade year, and I didn't take it again. I'm like, I'll skate through. I just figured I'd negotiate my way into a diploma, and it didn't work. But so I said, well, how are you going to use biology in real life? So whatever. So, but I learned quickly getting into sales. I learned very, very quickly that, oh God, it's not about the formal education that I got at school or college or any of that. It's self-education. I've got to learn. And so I started buying Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and Tom Hopkins and Jeffrey Gitomer, and I started getting all of these books and these cassettes and cassette tapes. You remember what that is, right? So,
oh, yeah.
And CDs and going to the seminars and really, and then, throughout my life, I'm like, man, am I addicted to learning? Is that a bad thing? I don't know, man. That's a great
addiction to have.
Right. And so that's what separates guys like you from the rest of the world, is that desire to know more, and staying humble enough to say, I don't know everything, there's so much more I have to learn. And so, dude, you nailed it. It's fear. And I think about I literally this morning I was thinking about, we get these big deals that come in, we get these, and your bank account looks smoking, it's like, and then all of a sudden, for me, I don't know about for anybody else, but for me, I don't care how many zeros are in there, I start feeling fearful instantly, okay, no celebrating here, let's roll, we got to keep pushing, and I think that a lot of people do that. They get things going, the momentum starts, and they stop pushing. Do you believe that's true?
Oh yeah, for sure. You get comfortable, and I've dealt with that several different times in my life, in my career.
Right.
And it's just the maturity level and trial and error, learning from your mistakes.
Right.
Don't be afraid to fail, because you need those failures to help you grow into what you're going to become. So, we all get in those situations. We get in the situations of comfort.
Yeah.
And but you have to learn to not be comfortable at the end of the day, because what the reality is, and people really, really need to understand this more than anything, that competition is becoming greater. Even though there's a lot of people that want it all and won't put in the work to get it, and it's all about what are you going to do for me? But the other people on that other end of that line are becoming more educated, and they're making it more difficult for those people that are just right here, just starting out, trying to get to that point, because they have the mindset. They understand how to win. You know, when you go save your first 10 grand, you're like, great, I accomplished something. You save your first 50 grand, you're like, okay, I'm really, really doing it. Then when you save your first 100 grand, you really start getting into the mindset of, okay, how do I keep it? How do I make it grow more?
Right.
You know, it's all about multiplying your money, regardless if it's $5, $10, $100, whatever it is. You want to learn how to multiply it, and how do I keep making it multiply?
Right.
Because the old motto, the things that we were taught 30 years ago, that, you know, if you became a millionaire, you'll have everything in life, and that is a bunch of BS, because it's furthest from that.
Right.
I really feel that, you know, if you want to live a great retired life, comfortable life, whatever you decide to do, you're going to need at least 10 million or more to get to that point.
Right.
Starting right now.
Yeah.
So you got to understand that, you know, I talked about competition and things like that. You have to educate, just like what you said. It's all about self-educating. And the resources out there, it's just you need a discipline to be able to go out and get it and make it your own. And
the I don't know what you call it, the kahunas to freaking invest, like spend money, like pay somebody to help you. I don't even, like, the amount of money I've spent hiring coaches and paying mentors and buying books and courses, and I mean, dude, it's been ridiculous. I'm like, I don't even know how much. Like, it's a lot. And so, you know, like, and you're the same way. Matter of fact, we talked about it before the show started. You know, investing and going to Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Conference and you know, and all of the stuff that goes into that, man. There's, you know, but it's a requirement if you want to succeed. If you don't want to succeed, then, you know, whatever, don't do it. That's all right.
I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching your show, they're all on that other end of wanting success. Yes. So, you know, what we're talking about is definitely resonating with them.
Absolutely, it does. So, you know, so the biggest mistake that you see, the biggest thing that holds people back in your mind is fear.
Yes.
Okay. I agree with you 1,000%. 1,000%. So let's say that you have a guy or a gal, and I ask this question on every show. Somebody that is homeless. They've been homeless for 5 days. And I don't know if you've ever, you know, if that resonates with you or not, but or, you know, their car was just repoed, the electric's getting shut off tomorrow, they're in the middle of an eviction process, you know, and they have no hope, zero hope. You ever felt that before in your life? Zero hope?
Oh, several times.
What do you say to that person if they walk into your office right now and say, I don't know what to do. I need guidance. Can you please tell me how to get out of this mess I'm in? What would you say to them?
Well, the first thing that, you know, whenever I'm consulting, coaching, training, you know, developing all those aspects of, you know, the biggest thing for me, you know, sales, we're all salespeople, okay? But to be a great salesperson, you're not selling anything. And the biggest thing that everybody needs to learn is you need to have an emotional connection. How do you make that emotional connection to that individual?
How for the guy you need to the homeless guy or the guy getting evicted?
Just if you want to make an impact on anybody, it doesn't matter if you're training, if it's a stranger, if it's your client, whatever. You have to have an emotional connection and impact at the beginning, or everything that you're going to talk about and you're going to learn, whatever, it's not going to have any effect on them.
I agree.
So you got to learn how to make an emotional connection immediately. So that individual, I'm going to go right in and tell them, hey, all these things that you're going through is all the things that should be happening to you. They're all lessons on how to make you become better. Every situation that we've all failed in, what have you done after that? How does it make you better? And, I would start with that situation and talk about those things to make them understand that it's just part of the game. It's part of it. For you to become the greatest at whatever you do, you have to fail at the things that you're doing, or you'll never become great. So, I would start that conversation off with that first, and then, dive into, what they're doing. How do we get them through the first step? How do we get to the next step? They're blinded right now. They can't see what's going on in 10 years or 5 years or 3 years or 1 year. You got to get them to day by day. How do I survive today to get to the next day?
Right.
And they got to have the will to fight and be able to push forward. And every single day is going to get better. You're at rock bottom. It doesn't get any worse than that. But how do I mentally and have that mindset and have the discipline to be able to move forward to get out of that?
Love that answer, dude. But the guy, like, are you going to say, dude, you got to go sell something? You got to get a job. You got to
for sure.
Right. So
whatever the job is, maybe he's an accountant and he can't find an accountant job.
Right.
Let's find out something. It doesn't matter. Chick-fil-A, wherever, you just got to move forward.
Right.
You can't stay still. You can't move back. You got to move forward. And one opportunity is going to lead to another opportunity, but you have to have movement.
Right.
If you don't have movement, you're never going to get out of where you're at.
Right. I agree with you, man. So, so you have Rush Impact Marketing is the name of your company, and what do you guys do?
Well, Rush Impact Marketing is the marketing side of what we do for the automotive industry. So that part of the company is what we do is we create 30 days in business in 6 days. That's exactly what we do. We do it with multi-channel marketing, with direct mail, digital marketing. We utilize technology to the fullest with your cell phones, texting capabilities, ringless voicemail. All these different components, we're using multi-level marketing at its finest, going into a market, be able to saturate and target that market correctly to be able to drive traffic and opportunities to the dealership. And then from that point on, our team plus the team at the dealership, we hold an event. It's very, very fast paced. Like I said, we do as much business in 6 days that we do that a dealership, it takes them 30 days to do. Our biggest event.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say our biggest event, we did 108 cars in 6 days. And right there is a Guinness Book of World Records certificate we got for that event. I have 2 Guinness World Records.
Wow.
For our events that we've held.
That's insane, dude. That's insane. So you and just for the record, I mean, you called me up one day and you're like, hey, we're doing these custom Snapchat filters, and I'm like, really? And yeah, where you can, wherever you are, like the geolocation, and you can. Yep. And dude, you've done, I don't know how many, for me, several, 3, 4, 5 of them, where you're geo-targeting a location that I was going to be, and you made these custom filters for me, and And like, you know your stuff. You're really, really good at it, man. And one of the things I love about you is if you don't know something, you take the time to figure it out. And you and I are just alike in that regard. Like, I don't like not knowing something. I don't, and you're like that. You're like, I don't like that. Like, I got to figure this out. So, like you do some phenomenal things. And so my question for you is this is, you know, I told you earlier, I'm connected to so many people in the car business, and it's like, you know, what do you see, changing in that business? Because I keep hearing all these people, I don't know the car business that well, but I keep hearing everybody say, you know, the car business is changing. It's changing, and things need to change, and this is changing, and yada, yada, yada. I mean, what do you see happening in that industry?
Well, the automotive industry is definitely changing at it's a slower pace compared to other businesses. It's always been that way. You know, it seems like they're always the last one to catch up to whatever's going on currently. The automotive industry is evolving very, very quickly, especially in the last 3 to 4 years, where technology is going there. Service-based businesses is coming very, very quickly. You know, let's start with Uber and Airbnb and all these different things.
Right.
Now you're, you know, that's the one thing with our business that we're evolving. I've always tried to stay ahead of the curve, and this is something that we were working on 6-7 years ago. And you brought up Snapchat and all these different things. I saw the shift of social media, so I wanted to become the expert in social media on the automotive side of it. So that's why I educated myself on Snapchat, Facebook, digital marketing, all these different things. But the auto industry, you know, we have companies popping up left and right. We have manufacturers popping up left and right, where it's going to become a point in time where people are not going to be buying cars. They're going to subscribe to cars. You know, that's the car you're going to drive.
I think you know Becky Chernick, and she's a F&I trainer, and her and I've talked about that, and she thinks that's going to be a huge wave. I talked to somebody else the other day that said, you know, it's not going to last, and so I think there's two sides to that argument, but I agree with you. I think people, if they make it affordable, I know some of them out there $800 to $1,000 a month, but like, you know, I think that's cool because I love changing cars. Like, I love that, right? So it's like, yeah, like, you know, this week we're driving an SUV, next week I'm driving a Porsche, you know, or whatever, like. So I think it's a cool business model, and I do think that it's going to shift. I think there's going to be a big shift.
Yeah, here's the biggest thing with the automotive industry and people, why people hate it. Okay, for one, they feel like they're always getting ripped off, but one thing that consumers have to understand, the automotive industry has probably some of the smallest margins when you're looking at products that are sold at retail. Yeah. Okay. So it goes back to the 80s and just the feeling and the experience that customers have gotten, and it's stuck that way. Even though that margins have gone down and the cost has gone up and the profit's not the way it used to be, the whole customer experience part of it needs to shift. You know, customers don't feel like they're served. Now, I'm not saying all dealers are this way. There's a lot of them they're this way. And the sooner that they understand that it's about the customer, and you got to provide service to the customer, and you got to make the buying experience that have that emotional connection, and be able to serve quickly. Yeah. They don't want 3, 4, 5 hours. And a lot of this stuff people have to understand too, it's not the dealership's fault. There's a lot of stuff that's in process, like the title work aspect of it at a state level, the banking side of it. You know, I'll share a quick story with you. I remember back in the day when you did car deals, you would actually have to fax in an application, and then you would sit there and wait for an approval. Now there's platforms now where finance managers and the team, they actually submit your deal, and you can have an answer on an application pretty quickly. So,
right.
those times are changing. It's going to get to a point where everything in the automotive industry is done electronically. Your title work, every single component, all your paperwork that you sign, you're not going to have documents or anything like that. And once all those things start shifting, and then new laws and regulation, with compliance and stuff like that, those things start shifting. I think it'll get to a point where people will just hop on their iPad, go look at the car that they want, actually order it, buy it from there, and then have a concierge just bring it to you.
Well, that's
subscription based.
Carvana's already doing that.
Yep, they're starting.
I was on. I don't even know how I ended up on, but I was on their website a few days ago, and I'm like, holy crap, you can just order a car like right here and they actually will bring it to you. It's insane. And so, there is a shift, and I think that in any industry, I was talking about with you, I was talking about like the web development industry that I've been in forever. It's shifted, and I'm starting to see some things, and I'm making some big moves to really start serving the customer better on a higher, more frequent level. And if that's what's happening, technology has changed everything. And I see these not just car dealers, but businesses that are not doing it, and they're going to get smashed. They are. I don't give a crap if you were doing billions of dollars a year. You're going to get crushed. Look at companies like Toys R Us, Circuit City. I mean, we could sit here and name, like, they're in the graveyard now, man. They're dead because they didn't adjust with what the customer wants and technology. They didn't adjust for it. And so you're 1,000% dead on with that, man. You're spot on. And so I know you well enough to know that, I would imagine, without even having the conversation, you're making moves to adjust to the changes that are happening.
Oh, for sure. Within our agency, we're making those shifts. I've really shifted my business model, where we're doing a lot of consulting work right now.
Right.
Helping dealers that don't understand this switch and the shift that's happening, educate them on that, help them get to that next level that they need to. And the biggest thing is in any type of business with technology the way it is, the digital world that we live in, everybody is educated.
Yeah.
You can educate yourself in 30 seconds.
Yep.
Just ask Google. Get on YouTube. You can educate yourself very quickly on whatever it is.
Yep.
So it doesn't become everybody wants to get in the mindset, well, it's all about price. Yeah, well, unfortunately, most businesses are very, very similar in price when you're talking the automotive industry.
Right.
It's going to come down to the service and convenience factor for that customer.
Yep.
And how you're going to take care of that customer to keep them long term. It's all about the experience. It's all about that emotional attachment that I talked about earlier. How are you going to create that emotional attachment for that customer to want to do business with you for long term? And the dealerships that understand that, learn that the quickest are going to be the ones that are going to survive this and become powerhouses.
Yep.
That's where the business is shifting to.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. So how does everybody in my audience follow the amazing Jeremie Warner?
Thanks, bro. I'm across all social media platforms. I'm getting ready to switch all my handles over to Impact CEO. I got a podcast that's getting ready to come out here in the next 30 days, and I'm branding everything over back to Impact CEO. So they can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, everywhere.
Awesome, dude. And you're a guy to follow, because I see your Snapchat stories, Instagram, like you're always putting out valuable content, man. Like, and you've been there. That's the thing, man, is I think that, people don't understand that you know, they get stuck in the pain, they get stuck in the mistake they made. Man, we've all made mistakes. All of us, everybody, you know, and if you haven't bounced a check yet, then you're not doing something. Like, you got to go like all in, man. You're going to bounce a check here and there as you come up, right? It's part of the deal, you know. And that's why, you know, banks will still work with you after you do it, because they know everybody does it, especially in business. So, like, you know, you got to go through the pain to get, like, it's just part of the deal. And you know, like, you've been there, man. I know you have. And so make sure that you're following Jeremie. And, you know, I'll go back and tag you in this on Facebook. So people can at least, you're probably maxed out on friends, but, you know.
No, I'm very selective on that portion of it.
Are you? Good. So, but I'll tag you on this. I know you shared it out. So everybody, make sure you're following Jeremie. Jeremie's a good dude, and class act, man, all the way. I'm going to go full screen with you again and just show everybody the book. I have the arrow pointing at my book again. So, listen, I appreciate you being on here. I appreciate, I know you're a busy guy. Appreciate you taking the time. Any parting words of wisdom for my audience before we sign off here?
Yeah, kind of the things that we talked about already. You know, get over that fear to win. Understand that you're going to be uncomfortable during these periods. And I'm going to tell you right now, even you know, going in our 11th, 12th year of business here, I still make daily mistakes. I still have situations that I'm scared of. You know, but it's the mindset and the discipline that I've taught myself over these years. And you can do the same exact thing, but you just got to have the fight and you got to have the will to win. And have mentors in your life. Find someone that resonates with you, that you see the struggles that they've gone through, the wins that they're having, and then learn from them and absorb information from everybody.
Love it, dude. Love it. You're right. Everything you've said is spot on, dude. So Greg Grayson just said, Ken, just another incredible show. Thank you for the great content. So,
thank you.
Dude, you're a rock star, man. You're a good friend of mine. I appreciate our friendship and everything. So thank you for being on here. Everybody who shared this out, Jeremie's going to send you a check. I'm just kidding. So, no, I'm kidding. So, hey, thank you guys for supporting and watching and sharing this out. Thanks for the likes and the loves and the hearts. And we will see you all on tomorrow. Got another guest tomorrow coming up. So, Jeremie, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
All right, and we will see you guys later. Jeremie, don't hang up. We'll see you guys later. Have a great day.